No, of course not. No, not a time machine. This is more like yeah, like a time machine.
Hey, what's up everyone? It's Ryan here from The Y, and today we're gonna be taking a look at Avengers Endgame. What a way to go out! The 22nd film of the Marvel Universe franchise basically saw the Avengers hitting Thanos with the Uno reverse card and winning the war. It also concluded the story arcs of multiple characters, hopefully paving the way for good things to come. Without further ado, here it is. 50 facts you didn't know about Avengers Endgame. Endgame begins with Hawkeye, a character who was notably absent from Infinity War. Yet, interestingly enough, this almost wasn't the case, as the scene very nearly made it into the first movie. Originally, it was supposed to play out like this. Thanos snaps his fingers. The screen cuts to black, with the very next shot being of Hawkeye and his family's last picnic. The whole idea was to confuse the audience and have them thinking, why the hell are we here? Not long after, they get their answer, following which it cut right back to Wakanda, with things continuing as normal. In the end, the brothers found the cutaway too jarring and disorienting, though I can't say I agree. In many ways, I think it works better placed directly after the snap to shake things up a bit. As Endgame made crystal clear,
he did exactly what he said he was going to do. Thanos wiped out 50% of all living creatures.
And the opening sequence proves that it's really all living creatures as the sound of the birds slowly fades away.
Lala?
In the support group for survivors, the man with the glasses is none other than Jim Starlin, the creator of Drax, Gamora, and Thanos himself. Also, Joe Russo is the man discussing his dating life after the snap. If you want to get super literal, the Russo brothers joked that the fate of the universe didn't rest on Doctor Strange, Iron Man, or even Ant-Man. It all came down to one heroic rat stepping on a button and freeing Scott Lang from the quantum realm. Besides Scott Lang, the Wall of the Vanished contained the names of people who've contributed to Marvel Universe films throughout the years. Although Captain Marvel released 1 month before Endgame, Brie Larson filmed all her scenes for the Avengers prior to any for her own standalone movie, and she wasn't the only one pulling double duty, as Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly filmed all their scenes concurrently with Ant-Man and the Wasp.
It was a matter of national security. The Cap needed help.
Cap?
It's in America.
We're on it, Cap.
Especially in this day and age, you don't have to look far to find examples of bad CGI. So whenever you see visual effects done right, it definitely stands out a tad extra. Such is the case with Smart Hulk's glasses. Cause just as you'd expect from regular old reading glasses, they littered the glossy frame with a bunch of fingerprint stains. In a moment of inspiration, Tony Stark figured out time travel. And it was all thanks to Peter Parker's whimsical nature. Take a look at Stark right before he cracks the code. What's he doing? Looking at a picture of him and Peter holding an upside down or inverted diploma.
This time in the shape of a Mobius strip, inverted, please.
According to Robert Downey Jr., Endgame was different in the sense that more than any other MCU film, everyone infused their characters with their own personal experiences. And this scene is perhaps the best representation of what he means.
I love you 3,000.
Originally, the lines were simply, love you tons and love you tons. But after RDJ told the directors how his son used to say, love you followed by the biggest number he could think of, they had to put it in.
3,000. That's crazy.
Tunsberg, or New Asgard, is a special place for a few reasons. It's the same town the Frost Giants invaded in 965 AD, and later on, it's where Red Skull finds the Tesseract in 1942. In addition to stout and plain old beer, the Asgardians make their very own Asgardian Ale, which begs the question, why hasn't Marvel hopped on this already? following an anime training montage and eating more vegetables like his mother suggested. Early drafts saw Fat Thor becoming not so Fat Thor. Surprisingly, it was ultimately Chris Hemsworth who stopped it from happening. Apparently, he enjoyed the new look because it was so different from every other Thor.
Give me a cuddly little rascal.
I'm good.
Though the fat suit and constant belly rubs he didn't like so much. On a related note, did you ever notice how Thor always had gloves on? I'd like to say it came down to a style choice, but it was simply there to cover the seams of his fat suit. Due to Korg and Thor's sedentary lifestyle of pizza, booze, and video games.
That kid on the TV just called me a dickhead again.
Noob Master.
Yeah, Noob Master 69.
Korg is growing a bunch of moss on his rocky skin. Here's a few of the best references to the comics. Captain Marvel's short haircut is a callback to how it's styled in the graphic novels. Cap was faking this line in the movie. Yet in the comics, he actually meant it, revealing that he was a Hydra spy the entire time. Ant-Man's helmet on Hank Pym's desk is the original from the comics. Captain America finally says the thing.
Avengers!
Assemble.
His shield gets broken very much the same across the two mediums. And finally, the reasoning is different, but Captain America passes off his shield in the comics much like the film. Amid the airport battle in Civil War, Scott Lang gets a bit fatigued upon staying in giant mode for too long.
Does anyone have any orange slices?
And following Clint's time machine test, Lang's got his back with a couple of orange slices at the ready. Whenever they're together, Rocket and Quill argue like a pair of teenage brothers.
If he got closer, I'm sure he'd be much larger.
If it's how eyesight works, you stupid raccoon.
Don't call me a raccoon!
But despite getting on each other's nerves, this right here demonstrates the love they have for each other. As in remembrance of his friend, Rocket's wearing Quill's scarf from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. When the team puts their fists together to get pumped up for the time heist, the image it creates looks very reminiscent of Stark's original arc reactor. So while Jane Foster technically appeared in Endgame, Natalie Portman didn't actually film any scenes. This is due to the fact that all the footage you see was simply compiled with leftover shots from Thor: The Dark World. And you can't tell me they didn't know exactly what they were doing when they made this concept art.
It's not what it looks like, Thor.
While at first glance this might seem like a throwaway line,
May I ask you where you're going? The lunch and then Asgard.
the lunch he's referring to is the post-credit shawarma scene from the original Avengers. During the events of Infinity War, Captain America's suit gets damaged, revealing the scales present in his outfit during Endgame. Stan Lee and cameos are like peanut butter and jelly. Beginning with Iron Man in 2007, he's made an appearance in every single Marvel film all the way up to Endgame. Obviously, we all wish he didn't die, but I also can't see a more fitting way to go out. Stan Lee's final cameo takes place in 1970 outside the army base, and shows him and his wife both digitally de-aged and riding off into the sunset. When it came time to pick who won the prize of going to Vormir, the screenwriter said there was never any doubt it had to be Hawkeye and Black Widow. Now, in terms of deciding who was going to die, that was a bit more tricky. There certainly were versions where Hawkeye made the sacrifice, yet they eventually got the feeling that her journey was over. Hawkeye had still yet to get his family back, while Black Widow was saving her family in the Avengers and wiping her ledger clean.
I got red in my ledger. I'd like to wipe it out.
Also, I'm super glad this didn't make it in, but there was a very awkward rendition where Thanos would try to stop them on Vormir. Another unseen sequence would have taken place right after Banner's snap, where he's taken to the Soul Realm to say his goodbyes to Natasha. This one I can get behind.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not Tony Stark.
It's no secret that Tony Stark's true superpower lies with his mind and engineering prowess. Though something less talked about yet equally as crucial is his ability to learn and adapt. And nothing illustrates this better than his shield upgrade after the previous film, where he found out that maybe nanites weren't the best option after they're depleted by the Power Stone and can't recover. Seeing as how he takes a missile to the face, it follows that Ant-Man shouldn't be around anymore, or at the very least, severely injured. Well, by slowing things down, you can see that he actually shrunk himself down the moment of impact, thereby lessening the blow. Here's a couple of quick hits regarding the special effects at Endgame. There were a total of 2,496 VFX shots, 200 of which were aging and de-aging related. A staggering 14,000 artists worked on the film, and things came down to the wire as they were only completed with 2 weeks to spare.